All right, hello there. This is the review of the Fenix HL26r. I purchased this light myself, actually, though Fenix did give me a discount for doing a review on it. Purchased it for a friend of mine as a gift idea. Started evaluating it, took it outside, used it around a little bit. So I'm just going to take you over the quick features, a little quick review here, and let you know if it's something you might consider yourself. So the main part of this, the main feature is that it has both a flood and a spot beam. It articulates here. I think it said 60 degrees, if I remember correctly. That's how far it goes down. It's got this reflective, stretchy band here. Pretty nice material. I like the colors here, actually. I like what they're doing. And it is, as you can tell by this USB cord, rechargeable. The very first thing I'll show you is that there are two buttons. One operates the spot functionality. One operates the flood. And when we just press the flood one, 4 blue LEDs on the bottom illuminate. This is telling us our charge level. That's a really handy feature to have at a quick glance. You know, like kind of a 25, 50, 75, 100 kind of state. Right now we're about fully charged. I've charged up. I haven't used it a ton since the charge, so we're at that full charge. So to turn it on, whether in spot or in flood, you just hold one of the buttons for half a second. So it's going to be real bright in the eyes, but half a second there is on flood. I believe that is low. Yep, and then we go to high. And then on the flood cycle as well, there's SOS. It's a very slow SOS, but I guess if you're trying to really get somebody, that would work. And then back to low. Hold it for another 5.5 seconds, and you're back off. The other button, the spot here, this is obviously the one in the middle. Whew. Turn that down. I think that turns right on to high, actually, if I'm not mistaken. And then we cycle down to low, medium, high. Low, medium, high. Turn back off. So the box, as you can see, states that it's 450 lumens is the total output. Not total, I should say. It's the highest output. Where that comes from, though, is a burst mode, which can only be operated for about a minute at a time. That's pretty common with a lot of flashlights and headlamps, is that there's a limit on those high-end lumen outputs. So how we get into that mode is whether we're in flood or in spot, either one, and I'll show you here, you hold the spot down for like 1.5 seconds, and then that's when the turbo comes on. It's quite bright, actually. I'm gonna show some photos on screen here as I'm talking about this. The lumen outputs are in the flood mode. The low is, let's see, the low is stated at 4 lumens, and the high is 40 lumens. That sounds kind of low, and that's because it actually is kind of low. It's fairly dim, but right in front of you, if you're illuminating just what's going on in front of you, it's actually pretty respectable. And also at that high output for the floodlight, you do get a 13-hour runtime. And this is only off a 1600 milliamp hour battery, by the way, internal. So that's actually great battery life. That's one of the reasons I think that they had the low output, so that they can boost that runtime. On the spotlight, the high, medium, and low is 130 lumens, 70 lumens, and 30. Then the burst is 450. And so from the high to the burst, you've got a difference of, 320 lumens there, and that is actually very noticeable. So what I'm going to do is, we'll cycle back here, turn on to this. We'll go low, medium, high, and burst. That's hard to show, but I'll take you outside in a second and show it in a little bit better light, or I should say no light at all, so it's a little more understandable. But that burst really is actually quite bright. And when you need to reach out and touch something with the flashlight, that's going to be more than appropriate for you. So the pros and cons of this light. Well, let me first get into the outside, and then we'll bring it back in here. So we'll go outside and check out the light. We're going to turn it right on to, this is the low flood setting. This is the high flood setting. As you can tell, the ground in front of me, very bright, not a lot of throw. Then this is spot mode, turning on with low. Again, nice hot spot. This has some more throw. Step up to medium. Now we're starting to really see down the field. It's probably a 300-foot field to the tree line. Going to high. Again, nice throw. And we're going to ramp up to the turbo. Whew, a lot of throw. This is actually quite bright for 450 lumens. I do have the exposure up quite a bit because some of the lower settings are very low. But that's doing a very good job seeing all the way down to the tree line with my naked eye. So the pros and cons here of this light, this is a real quick review, so I'm not going to get too in depth, but from a flashlight enthusiast, there's a few things I like about it. One, it's pretty easy to operate. It makes sense that there's flood, there's spot, and those buttons control each other. Pretty simple. The difference of flood and spot as far as beams are really helpful for different applications. I would imagine, like if you take this cycling or running or something, you want to see down the road a long ways, that spot works really great. If you're just hiking in the woods, that flood illuminates in front of you very well, has a long runtime. So it's a very compact, very quick, very easy. A lot of people really love the rechargeable aspect. Myself included, I do enjoy rechargeable batteries. But that brings me to my cons. So the cons about this light are a couple. First of all, I don't like this cover here. Now, I know probably they put this cover because that way you don't accidentally turn the light on. But at the same time, you also have to hold the light down, so that's also a protection against accidental turning on. So it's like they've put two safeties on, and either one of them get in the way. I think either you should cover it and just do a single click, or not cover it and have to hold it. But maybe I'm being a little nitpicky there. The second thing I don't like about it is, this is just my preference, I don't like rechargeable flashlights that have non-removable batteries. Just because I like to be able to take a couple extra and swap it out with me. This one's built in. So what you get is better runtime because it's tailor fit for this device. However, you lose being able to swap it on the fly. I personally don't like that. Some people, especially people who are new to flashlights or just casual users, that's a plus. So I put it on my cons list, but it might not be a con for you. However, this brings me to my biggest and most egregious, I think, con, which is you have no way of operating flood and spot at the same time. As you see, we can do a spot here. We can switch over, we can do flood. We can go to turbo by hitting this from any setting, but there's no way to combine the two different outputs into one. I love a light that's both, you know, a spot and a flood, like a combination of the two. Since there are both lights on here, you assume and you think it would be great to be able to use both of them. But because of the way that it's designed and made to operate, that's just not an option. Now, in Fenix's defense here, I'm going to mention, I'm sure that the reason they did this is twofold. Most likely heat and battery life. So probably heat's the larger issue of the two. You've got 3 LEDs instead of just 1 or 2 running at the same time. Now all of a sudden you've got battery drain a lot heavier. You've got heat buildup a lot faster. And they probably, in this small package with a small battery, didn't want to run into that and said, you know what, just pick or choose whichever one. But wanting the most output I can get from a light and seeing two different types of LEDs makes you really want that two-stage light, or I shouldn't say two-stage, but the two different types of light. And it's almost like you were given a Christmas present, but it's a gift card that you can only use at a certain store. You know, hope you want to do that, because that's what you can do, and that's it. So that's, I think, the biggest issue. It's not so much that I think Fenix is wrong for not doing it that way, because the application they have this for is light use, you know, casual user, and I understand it. But still, I have to be impartial and say that that's one of the biggest issues, is that you have two kinds of lights. You can't use them both at the same time. But with that being said, would I buy this for myself? Probably not, just because I have higher standards of what I want my flashlights to do. And I like being able to swap batteries and take care of everything. But for the intended recipient that I have this for, he likes hiking. He does a lot of night stuff. This, I think, is actually a really great. It's small. Like I said, on the high flood, you've got 13 hours of runtime. So he can go on an all-night hike and still have a little battery left over in the morning. And if he needs to swap over to the spotlight, as long as he doesn't go to the burst mode the whole time, he's still got 6 hours on that. So, I mean, it does have great, sorry about that, it does have great applications. And in the certain use cases, as you can see, they've marketed it as rechargeable trail running headlamp. And I think in that application, yeah, it's going to be a great light. It's going to be easy. It's going to be durable. It's going to be waterproof. Stows away in the bag easily. So in the application that they intended for, great light. A couple of cons, as I mentioned, but still HL26r, rechargeable, very bright turbo when you need it, good flood beam, good spot beam, good light color. Overall, a good little light. So that's my short review. Let me know if you want me to do a different flashlight review, or if you had any further questions about this one. And hit me up on my website. It's alexgray.info. There you can see all my other reviews for other flashlights that I've done. So thanks, guys. Have a great night.